So Bitcoin and altcoins are pulling back as we discussed in Friday's video. So the question now is, how low do we go? In this video, I'm going to be going over some of the possible scenarios that we're going to see over the coming days and weeks, and also take a look at some potential trade setups for some altcoins. So let's get into it. Starting then, as always, with Bitcoin itself. We're going to start on the higher time frames and work our way down. So we have a monthly close coming up tonight, although not too much really to talk about on the monthly time frame. You can see we're still holding this level of support at 58.7k, as we have done pretty much the entire year since March. So nothing really that interesting there. Going to clearly close above that, and now we're just waiting for that expansion. Let's quickly take a look at ETH as well before we start going down the time frames. Again, not really too much to talk about. I've been hoping for a retest of this monthly range high down here at just above $2,000. We've not got that. It does look unlikely that we're going to get that now. It looks as though we've put a bottom in here at around $2,150-ish. And it looks like we're going to just about sort of reclaim or hold the moving average 21 on the monthly time frame. But again, as I say, not really too much that interesting to talk about on the monthly time frame. Let's head down to the weekly. And BTC got that all-important weekly candle close above that weekly resistance of around 64k. And you can see we're now coming back and having a bullish retest. So scenario one is that we end up holding this level, bouncing off it, and then continuing to make new highs. Now, of course, we can trade much lower than this during the week, and then by the time the weekly candle closes, we can still manage to close above 64k and hold it as support after having put in a decent wick. Likely scenarios in terms of pullbacks, we could come down and retest this area of sort of 61k, where both the moving average 21 and that big round psychological number of 60k, and also that weekly level of previous support and resistance. We know 60k is a huge level throughout Bitcoin's history since March 2021. So wouldn't be surprised to see a pullback there, make everyone think that it's all over and have a little retest. The only problem is I think a lot of people would really like to position themselves in at around 59-60k. So maybe we don't get that. Maybe we front run it a bit. As I say, the moving average 21 is around 61.5k. So that is a potential pullback area as well. If we head down to, or in fact, before we move on, if we do lose that 60k weekly level, that is obviously final line in the sand for me personally. If we get a weekly close back below 60k, that is a big red flag for me, and I think we may well be looking at retesting 52 and possibly even then start making our way down to 45k. But that is obviously worst case scenario, and we are still well away from that. We're still up at 63k, so no need to get ahead of ourselves. Take each week as it comes. But as I say, this weekly candle, hopefully we just have a big wick, start the next monthly candle with a bit of a wick, put the low in, and then we can continue on our way up. So pull back in around 60k on the weekly time frame. On the daily time frame, we might have some areas that are a little bit shallower than that. So at the moment, as you can see, we did the classic Bitcoin price action where we got above a really important level here at 65.4, made a new high, and then simply just rolled over and dumped, which is just classic crypto, classic Bitcoin. So in terms of the shallowest pullback, we may well end up holding this daily level of previous resistance here at 64k, hold that as support, make a higher low and continue. However, as I talked about on Friday's video, what I would be surprised at is if we didn't come down and take out all these wicks down here, grab all that liquidity, retest the moving average 21, and tap these daily and 4-hour FVGs at around one at 62.3k and one at 61.8k. I would be very surprised if we didn't take out these lows first. So that would be my ideal scenario. I think that would be a really nice entry for a long, really good risk reward. You can cut on a daily close below 61.7, below this FVG, and then look for lower down at around 59k. So they're the two areas that I would watch out for. About 62k, between 61.7 and 62k, and then if that area is lost, down to 60 and 59k. In terms of Ethereum, quickly take a look at the weekly time frame. So we rejected that weekly and daily FVG that we talked about on Friday. As you can see, if we go down to the daily, again, we've got those clear wicks lows that we put in over last week, similar to Bitcoin, that we could easily come down, take out those lows, bounce off the daily and 4-hour FVGs that we've got here at $2,530 and then $2,500. So in and around that level, I think is good. If we lose the $2,500 daily and 4-hour FVG, then we're probably going to come down and retest this level here, daily level of 2422. But I don't think we get that low. I think we come down, take out these wicks, make a higher low, and continue on the uptrend. We'll just have to wait and see, take each day as it comes. Let's also take a look at some of the majors. So Bitcoin dominance, ETH BTC, and the total 2. So there's some good news on those. Let's start with ETH BTC. As I say, monthly candle close today. And you can see we are still holding that all important level of 0.04, clear level of previous resistance all the way from September 2018 to February 2021. Holding that level, and monthly close today, so that looks all good. And also Bitcoin dominance starting to look a little bit toppy potentially. I would really like to have seen this monthly candle close below 57%. Doesn't look like that's going to happen in the next 9 hours, but you never know, crazier things have happened. But hopefully this resistance area here, bit of a bearish wick, hopefully we start to roll over on Bitcoin dominance, ETH BTC starts finding some strength, and altcoins and Ethereum can start outperforming Bitcoin. The only trouble we've got with that is that if Bitcoin does decide to go ahead and make new all-time highs, we normally do see a spike in Bitcoin dominance, because it's then just the Bitcoin show for a while until Ethereum and alts catch up. But crazier things have happened. Sometimes alts and Ethereum do run alongside Bitcoin, so don't take anything for granted. In terms of the total 2 and total 3, they are both exactly the same charts as I've said before, but they are both showing the signs that we want to see. So let's just use the total 2. As I've talked about in many videos before, 940 billion, a big level on the total 2 chart. You can see a big level of previous support and resistance, been very well respected, even though it's just an index and not an individual asset. We have, of course, I talked about this rejection before, where we rejected 940 billion as resistance, rejected the moving average 21, and rejected the RSI 50, which was a few weeks ago now, back in the middle of August. We've now cleared that, cleared those obstacles on the last week's weekly close, closed above 940 billion, closed above the moving average 21, and closed above the RSI 50 as well. Having a nice little bullish retest, hopefully, of both the weekly level, moving average 21 and RSI 50, in fact. So hopefully this is where we put the low. And of course, we could have a little wick lower throughout the week, but as long as we close the week above 940 billion and the moving average 21 and RSI 50, I think that spells good news for altcoins. Speaking of which, let's go and take a look at some potential altcoin trades. Now, in last Friday's video, I covered ADA, DOT, FTM, Gala, VeChain, Sol, and WIF. Talked about all of their potential pullback areas, went over their FVGs, daily levels of support, etc. Moving average 21 area. So if you want to check them out, go and look at last Friday's video. I'll link it at the end of this video, because today I'm going to go through BNB, MakerDAO, Doge, and Link. And speaking of trading, if you want to join a trading community, go check out our Discord. It is free to enter. We also have premium and the Traders Lounge, which are paid for services as well. But you can see this is our trade success room, where our analysts and members post all their successful trades. We have loads of chats where you can share either trading setups or strategies, talk through stuff, invest in chats, trade in chats, all of that kind of good stuff. We have analysts that provide daily trades as well. So we've got day trading, swing trades, positional trades, all that good stuff. We also have courses as well, which are free on our YouTube actually. So go check those out as well. So yeah, if you want to join that, go ahead and check out our website, learningcrypto.co.uk. You can see it's free Discord membership. And then if you want to join the premium and Traders Lounge, you can do. Annual, you save a whole bunch. You basically get it half price if you go for annual, and you also get 20% off using the code Bitcoin as well. So go check that out. Let's move on then to the trades that I've talked about. So let's start with BNB. Let's go to the daily. And this is the trade that I am eyeing up at the moment. Now you can see we've already come down, retested that moving average 21. So there's a chance that we may well bottom here. I'm hoping that we go a little bit deeper and test this new formed fair value gap on the weekly time frame. So let's just go check that out for you, zoom in a little bit. So as I talked about in the last video, I used the Nephew Sam's FVG indicator, and you can see we have formed a brand new weekly FVG here. So I really like to use weekly FVGs, especially if they're untested. They end up having some very powerful reactions, particularly if you go for if you're going for longs, go for the lower portion or the lower level of the FVG, and obviously if you're going for shorts, go for the top. But yeah, if we can come down into around $563, I think we'll have a very good reaction from that. On the daily time frame, again, you can see it's a previous level of resistance as well on the daily. And we've also got a daily FVG just below that as a bit of plunge protection as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do come and test this weekly FVG, maybe we wick into this daily FVG and then come back and go from there. So this would be my trade setup. Entry around 563, stop loss down here about 545, which is about 3%. TP1 I'd have in around the moving average 21 just in case we have a bearish retest of that and continue to roll over. And then TP2 would be up at the previous highs at around 607. So risk rewards about 2.6 to 1. Of course, you can move your stop loss up. I've got it down there just because, as I say, we may well come down and test that daily FVG before going up. If we do end up holding this moving average 21, what I'm looking for on when I trade altcoins is I wait for Bitcoin and possibly Ethereum to find support first. So obviously if I'm going for longs, I want to see that Bitcoin is sat on a support. And if I'm going for shorts, I want to see that it's at resistance, and maybe Ethereum as well as complements as well. So if BNB does hold this moving average 21, I'll take a look at where we are on Bitcoin. So for example, if Bitcoin manages to hold 64k today on the daily close, then I might consider jumping into an altcoin trade or two because of the potential that this may well be the bottom in for Bitcoin already. So I'll take a look at the daily close. As I say, if we hold the moving average 21, I might jump in earlier, but hopefully we come down, test the bottom of this weekly FVG at 563. Next one, make a DAO. This looks like a really nice clean setup if it manages to hold. I'll just turn off the indicator there, make it a little bit cleaner. So you can see we had this clear level of previous resistance at 1,634. Broke above it, we've come down for a potential retest, and you can see it's looking like it's melting through. Now you've got this daily level of previous resistance now support, you've got the moving average 21, and you've got a daily FVG in and around between 1634 and 1616. So should we manage to hold the daily FVG, that will be my entry. Stop loss well below today's wick. It's also somewhat of a retest, maybe a reclaim of the RSI 50 if we see a decent day tomorrow. And this would be my setup. So TP1 would probably be up here around 1,720. I might actually move that down to around 1,704, the top of these daily candles here. And then TP2 would be up at this previous level of resistance. In fact, I think that's a weekly FVG, is it? Let me zoom out. Yeah, that's a weekly FVG up there at around 1,779. So that would be my TP2, and that would be my setup. Even better if we manage to wick and close the day above the moving average 21 and the daily level of 1634, but I will jump in a trade here, and as I say, as long as Bitcoin is sat on support as well. Doge has had a really good performance last week, particularly late last week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, pulling back a lot, which is great to see. Ideal for jumping into a trade. So again, previous level of resistance here at 11.5 cents. Hoping for it to come down here. It may well stop at this first daily FVG though at 11.6 or 11.7 cents. So again, if that holds there and Bitcoin is sat on support, then I might move my entry up to there. Likewise, it may well fail this level at 11.5 cents and come retest the moving average 21, which is where another daily FVG is at around 11.1 cents. So there's a couple of different areas we may well bottom at on Doge, and that's why I like to wait to see if Bitcoin's bottom first and then step into an altcoin trade, because there's multiple levels where we could see a bit of a bounce. So wherever it may be, whether it's this daily FVG, whether it's the daily level 11.5 cents, whether it's the lower daily FVG at 11.1 cents, that'd be my entry. Again, stop loss wherever I've put it at around 3%. You could have it slightly lower if you're going to on this daily level just below the moving average 21 and the daily FVG, probably slightly safer. Makes the risk reward not as good, but as I say, if we do come down and wick that daily FVG, you'll be a little bit annoyed that you've been stopped out before the move. But TP1 would be up and around here somewhere at about 12 cents, and then TP2 would be back at the highs of 13 cents. And then finally, Link, if we take a look at the weekly, so We had a very slight close above the weekly range low, although that's subjective considering we rejected off the moving average 21 and the RSI 50. Did talk about that in a previous video about it being a bit of a danger zone. And then on the daily time frame, we take a look. So I'm looking for this level to be lost, this daily and 4-hour FVG. It's already been tested a couple of times, so I'm not that keen on it holding. I'd rather see a bit of a deeper retracement down to where the moving average 21 is, down to where the second daily and 4-hour FVG is at around 11.5 cents. And you can see this is a previous level of daily resistance, so it would probably be a decent level of support. In fact, let's just draw that on there so you can see that nice and clearly. So looking at that level coming down, being retested, maybe a wick into this daily level of 11.462, hold the daily and 4-hour FVG, hold the moving average 21 and continue there. And it's probably going to coincide with a retest of the RSI 50 as well. So TP1 would be back up here where this current daily FVG is around $12, and then TP2 would be back at the highs around $12.936. Risk reward about 3.5 to 1, not too bad, 10% from the entry up to TP2. So let me know in the comments what you think is going to happen over the next couple of days and weeks. Do you think we're going to just put in a low in the early part of October and then continue our bullish run? What altcoins trade setups are you looking at, and where do you think Bitcoin is going to be by the end of October? Let me know in the comments below, like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.